Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts. I'm joined again by Gepwin, a Cry and Shame, and for the first time in this series, Scarhoof.
Hey.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Alrighty, so awesome. This should be interesting. I know beforehand we discussed some stuff, and I know a couple people have some things they want to discuss here as well. But just a quick overview. That was loud.
Bless
Sorry.
you.
There's a sneeze.
I tried to mute.
So the 015 status, they've delayed it. So before they said their kind of estimate was near the end of February. Well, they've now pushed it to the end of March, which is... That's perfect. That's what I was thinking when I read this. That is
I've
what
had
I
that
was
queued
thinking.
up all day.
That is
He's
absolutely
ready for
perfect.
this. He's prepared.
So, yeah, they pushed it back a month. It's quite disappointing, to be honest. I don't entirely understand, but yeah, I mean, I guess if they have to push it back, they have to push it back. And then some really cool difficulty settings and a fix for modded load time as well. But if you guys want to go ahead with any thoughts you have first.
Well, I was going to discuss the point 15 status.
Mhm.
I'm personally in IT myself, and I can attest that IT things take a lot longer than you normally think about. But I've been playing Minecraft for a number of years, and I've watched the development team for Mojang evolve over time. And a lot of people have been complaining. This has been one of the big complaints with Mojang for years. Is they were making so many millions of dollars every year. Why couldn't they have a larger development team? And why couldn't they develop stuff faster?
Mhm.
One of the big complaints recently actually was that somebody sitting down and knocking out a mod in a week seems to put more content into the game than the entire team of Mojang does.
Right.
And the reality is, especially with like Mojang and now with Woo, because they're getting larger and larger, it's every single change that they make is exponentially larger in the grand scheme of things. They have to be that much more careful now to make any changes because they don't want to upset their core audience, and they're also trying to look towards the future. That's one of the reasons why a year and a half, 2 years ago, it's almost seemed like they were ready to release, and then we've basically spent the last year refactoring the entire game. They spent 6 months on just the multiplayer and all that other stuff, trying to make it so that when they actually do launch the game, they don't have to redo it. And that's one of the big problems that Mojang ran into. Notch throughout the code, and it was a blast of a game, and it kind of exploded bigger than he thought it would get. So he hired Jeb, who did the development, and years later, with millions and millions of players, I don't think there's a single game that's played more than Minecraft is at this point. Pretty much every child under the age of like 8 plays this game. They've had to completely rebuild the entire game from scratch to account for all the myriad of ways that people will break the game. So I think just keep in mind that every time they make a change, it could have disastrous effects later on, and they have to be that much more careful with bug fixing and stuff to make sure that they don't ruin things for them down the road.
You guys got to be careful of future-proofing yourself, and it's hard to do that when you, once again, have no idea what the future holds.
Yeah.
Right.
And in addition to that, like this is not only the most recent update, so they have all that stuff to worry about, but this is going to be like the largest influx of features we've ever seen.
Yeah, between the science, the nuclear power, and now advanced settings like this, like they're adding a lot to this game in one update.
Mm-hmm. And they always hold stuff back. There's always something that they throw in there that they never told us about.
Oh, well,
Yep.
There's already a ton that they've like kind of leaked here and there.
Uh-huh.
That's like
Hinted at
ridiculous. That you
so
like,
much.
Yeah.
I will always be happier with what I think of as the Blizzard way of doing things.
Yep,
Like
I
we
agree.
will release it when we are happy with it, instead of releasing a half-baked version that you're going to hate and will maybe be fixed in 6 months.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
agree. Like I'm not.
There seems to be a game that came out recently that might remind people of this. Old Man Sky?
No Man's Sky. Yeah.
Ooh.
Or, yeah, No Man's Sky. Yeah.
Yep.
I like Old Man Sky.
Yeah.
I like that one better.
Yeah, that one's better. So
I thought you were purposely making fun of it.
Okay, so yeah, that's that. You know, it's pushed back, whatever. At least, hopefully, I at least hope that they make that date. I think people are gonna start getting pretty upset if they like push it back another month after that. But
Yeah. Well, this is more or less what everyone kind of realistically expected. We've all
Yeah.
been kind of saying this for months.
Yeah.
yeah, so you know, there's that. It is what it is. But now we're into the really interesting part. So
Difficulty settings.
yeah, this is from our seating, which he's just like amazing with like coding stuff and like optimizations and stuff. And part of that is he's added the backing logic for a new advanced section of the map gen settings, which is pretty awesome. So as you can see, you can now very acutely, like very finely tune the pollution, the evolution of the enemies, the enemy expansion, as well as the recipes and technology, which we kind of discussed a little before we started the video. It's not entirely clear in this write-up how that's actually going to work, this recipe and tech section.
Yeah, it looks like they haven't fully fleshed that out. All they have right now is just the normal.
Yeah. And this could just be one of the things where they're putting in the options now so that it's easy to change later if they want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that the real benefit here will be for mod makers. They'll put forth the effort to come up with easy, normal, and hard recipes, but then mod makers can just take that to whatever nth degree they want after that.
Bob's Mod Complex.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a couple levels above that. Like
Yep.
No,
Death
I'm
Wish.
saying I'm not saying I'm saying you Bob Mod's going to have 3 difficulties, and simple is going to be what it is now.
Yep.
And the last
Yeah.
one's going to be you're going to want to kill yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
So, so yeah, these are just, there's so many options. I mean, when we look at this, I don't even know what half these are, and people mention that they don't even know what this stuff means, except a couple of the devs actually shared a little GIF showing that there are tooltips when you mouse over these, which is really cool.
Oh, good.
So it
Well,
will
okay.
actually explain what they do, because I don't know what this stuff, diffusion ratio, I don't know what that is.
I mean, I kind of know it from the context. I have no idea what it means in game.
Yeah, I think I know that it's done
Fish-
usually by chunks. So the chunk will basically look at the chunks adjacent to it and decide they'll try to equalize themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think
Basically,
the
it's-
diffusion ratio is how much disappears into the ether every time it moves a chunk. So 2% of pollution just disappears entirely out of the game every time it moves the chunk. Would be my
No.
guess.
It's diffusion is how much pollution goes to the chunk next to it. So when it reaches a certain amount, it'll say 2% of it will go to the 4 chunks
Oh.
next to it.
Okay.
The
Okay.
dissipation rate is how much has disappeared
Okay.
per
Right.
tick. So the dissipation is the one you're talking about where it disappears into the ether.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
And between that and the enemy expansion thing, there's just going to be some insane biter maps now.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
like
I think the
crazy
key
death
takeaway for me is that all of these bars are very much towards the left, and there's a ton of room for them to move to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And another really interesting thing is, I mean, you really can at this point just control like how much of a death world or not it is with these evolution factors too, because I mean, you know how it is now. It's a set thing that you can't change without a mod, right? I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
could go on the game files,
Yeah.
but still, it's a pretty constant thing. But now you can just freely change this to whatever you want, pretty much. It looks like, which is
I'm actually curious of the destroy factor because it looks like it's pretty like a little bit to the left, but it's not fully. I wonder if that goes down to 0 or you can actually make that into a negative
that would be cool if you could go
would
negative,
be.
so you can
Oh,
actually
yeah.
reduce it by.
by killing battery bases.
Yeah. That would be a cool effect. Just really, really turn up time and turn down destroy to negative, so you have to keep
Yeah.
on top of killing them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, or just like bump pollution all the way up and just have to do it that way. It's really cool. These look pretty awesome, and this is of course in addition to the normal, to the ord gen settings and stuff we get.
Yep.
So, I mean, the part that's kind of unclear is they say for this recipe / technologies, The options include simple, normal, and complex. At the moment, the base game only has definitions for normal, but we may expand it. So what I take from this is that normal is just going to be just vanilla, like what the game comes with, and that the complex and simple won't do anything unless you have mods that use it. Because
Yeah.
So far,
Yeah,
that
anyway.
sounds like it.
yeah, so I guess mods would tie into those, or if they don't, then they just won't change anything at this point.
Yeah. I think it's something they're looking forward to adding later down the line, like maybe in like a null 15 point something.
Yeah, and I think that going back to our previous discussion about development time, they may want just some time to see what the community comes up with.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of a new feature. They don't know what we're going to do with it. They're just giving us the tools, and they're going to see what we end up coming up with. And at that point, then they can decide: is this something we want to actually invest time into, or are we just going to allow the modding community to take it over and just run with it, kind of a thing?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
We're going to break it.
yeah, I mean,
and I don't.
Oh yeah, we're going to break it.
yeah,
Oh yeah. This is probably a good option for people if they do introduce complexities. It'll be good for people starting out with the game. I can't see most of the community using anything other than the most complex that they will give them.
yeah,
I could definitely see somebody who hasn't played this type of game before dropping it down to the simple and just getting around the aspect of using the belts, using the inserters, mining materials, and just getting the base of the game itself rather than worrying about trying to get all of the different sciences all lined up together into a research facility.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's like there's a lot of people who want to just play it on peaceful, but then they get to a certain point in the game where it's like they don't really want to restart the game because they kind of, now that they understand how the game is played, they don't really want to re-roll the map just to be able to have the added aspect of biters. So you could actually tone all this stuff down, give a new player enough time to actually get familiar with the mechanics of the game, and then the biters would actually start becoming a problem.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. A lot of great options. I think the mods will definitely use it. For something like SpaceX. Complex would be like the SpaceX Plus. Normal would just be the normal, and simple would be a dumbed down version, but still like more than vanilla. And same with Bob's, like you said, Crying. I think it's just going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So then,
Looking forward to it.
yeah, me too.
Might start modding again when this comes out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So last thing is the modded load map performance. So I think we've probably all experienced this. I definitely have.
Yeah,
That-
a few times.
When you load a map and you change the mods, or even if you don't, depending on what mods you're using, it just every time you load it with the mods, it takes a really long time to load the save.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they've fixed this for
Yep.
15.
Yeah, hopefully it just goes to show you how fickle programming can be. A single setting was causing all this lag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just one, and they didn't notice it until they knew exactly where to look for it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it. It's cool. This is exciting. At least now they've kind of more officially announced their date of end of March. Because before, even when they said February, they were pretty vague about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
at least now we kind of have an official thing that they've announced. And yeah, I mean, any other thoughts before we end this?
Can't wait. I'm gonna do all
Yep.
kinds of crazy stuff. When 015 comes out, I'm gonna make my actual tutorial videos. Yeah.
Yeah,
About
we're
it.
gonna have to think of something to amuse ourselves for another month.
Yeah, that's gonna be difficult.
Count the number of times exterminator gets hit by a train.
That's right.
At least 30.
Sounds entertaining enough. In the course of a month, that's what, once a day?
Yeah.
You do this?
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we'll end it there then, guys. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
So long, everyone. Crying Shame, signing out.